for I have desired it. I will abundantly bless her provision. These are the things that's going to be in Jerusalem. I will satisfy her poor with bread. I will also clothe her priests with salvation, and her saints shall shout aloud for joy. That's happiness that we can look forward to. There will I make the horn of David, the power of David to bud. I have ordained a lamp for mine anointed. His enemies will I clothe with shame. You hear that? Mashiach Yahushua's enemies going to be clothed with shame, but upon himself shall his crown flourish. That means forever and ever and ever. That's why he told us in 2nd Ezra 8:52, he said, for unto you is paradise open. The paradise was closed during the time of Adam and Eve. That's why he put flaming swords around the tree of life. So when this tree of life is going to be given back to us as the children of Israel, he said, for unto you is paradise open. The tree of life is planted. See? It's planted because look, it has to be planted because that's what he did in the beginning. Going way back to the beginning. Why does the tree of life have to be planted? Look at Genesis 3:24. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubim, and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. So them flaming swords, the angels had the flaming swords so you couldn't get to the tree of life. That's why he's telling you here. In 2nd Ezra 8:52, for unto you is paradise open, the tree of life is planted, the time to come is prepared. Plenteousness is made ready. That's why it said we're going to eat in abundance. We're going to have a lot of bread. In Psalms 132:15, say, I will abundantly bless her provision. I will satisfy her poor with bread. See? He said in 2nd Ezra 8:52, for unto you is paradise open, the tree of life is planted, the time to come is prepared, plenteousness is made ready, a city is built, and rest is allowed. What did he say? Psalms 132:14, this is my rest forever. Here will I dwell, for I have desired it in the land of Zion, amongst the people of Zion. The 12 tribes of Israel, 1/3, mind you. Say a city is built in 2nd Ezra 8:52. And rest is allowed, yeah, perfect goodness and wisdom. The root of evil is sealed up from you. Weakness and the moth is hid from you. And corruption is fled into hell to be forgotten. Corruption going to be thrown into the lake of fire to be forgotten. Sorrows are past, no more sadness, nothing but happiness. And in the end, it showed the treasure of immortality. In the end, meaning we're going to live forever and ever and ever. Hallelujah. That's right. That's the good news. But we got to work to get there. This ain't no easy task, people. Go to Acts the 7th chapter. Acts the 7th chapter. And we're going to start at the 8th verse. And he gave him the covenant of circumcision. And so Abraham begat Isaac and circumcised him the 8th day. That's the law. Was to circumcise the boys on the 8th day. And Isaac begot Jacob. And Jacob begot the 12 patriarchs, which is the 12 heads over the 12 tribes of Israel. Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar. The 12 patriarchs. that became 12 nations to make up one nation, the 12 tribes of Israel, the Israelites. Verse 9, and the patriarchs moved with envy, sold Joseph into Egypt, but the Most High was with him. See, that's why a lot of times you look at, okay, well, that's affliction. Very much so. They took a younger brother and sold him to the Arabs, to Ishmael, the Ishmaelites. And they sold him to the Egyptians as a slave. But the Most High was with him. That's why a lot of times you look at, well, this happened, that happened, the Most High certain things be happening because the Most High is with them, but you look at this world as you've been programmed, especially you Israelites, you've been programmed to look at the worst in any situation, not knowing that there is a better end to the situation, even though it looks like it looks now. I understand that thoroughly, because that's why I'm giving it to you here through the Spirit of the Most High. And the patriarchs, verse 9, move with envy. And a lot of you are envious of certain things that you have no reason to be envious. Why are you envious of somebody that, most I say, he had a poor man that's prideful? Ain't none of us rich. So what you have a problem with anybody that's of your nation that's trying to make it to the kingdom? Something wrong with you. Say the patriarchs moved with envy, sold Joseph, their brother, sold their brother. That's why Israel is a bunch of degenerates. We can't exalt ourselves from our past, even to our present. You know, hopefully we have a better future. But until this day, envying someone, I don't know how nobody can envy nobody. You don't have the right spirit of the Most High to envy someone. But they envied Joseph and sold Joseph into Egypt. But the Most High, and the Mashiach Yahushua, was with him and delivered him out of all his afflictions, see? And gave him favor and wisdom in the sight of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And he made him governor over Egypt and all his house. So we wasn't under Egypt at this time. He made him governor and gave him the power to be over Egypt and his house and Pharaoh's house. Now there came a dearth over all the land of Egypt and Canaan, where we were at in Canaan. And great affliction. And our fathers found no substance. They couldn't find nothing to eat. Talking about our forefathers. But when Jacob heard that there was corn in Egypt, he sent out our fathers first. And at the second time, Joseph was made known to his brother when he came back the second time. Because they didn't even recognize him. Just to show you how the Egyptians are dark-skinned people. So Joseph had to be dark-skinned too. He had to look like the Egyptians. They didn't recognize him because he had grown up then. And he had the look of the Egyptians. I mean, don't get it twisted. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we have been, you know, looked at as Egyptians. Paul was looked at as an Egyptian. He was of the tribe of Benjamin, or the seed of Israel. When you look at Acts 21:37, and as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief priest, "May I speak unto thee?" Who said, "Canst thou speak Greek? Art not thou that Egyptian?" See, Joseph was sold to Egyptians, and when they came, the brothers came to try and, you know, see if they can get some food for the famine, the food shortage. They didn't recognize Joseph as an Israelite. So look at this Paul. He said, "Art not thou that Egyptian, which before these days made up an uproar and led up out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers?" They considered Paul as an Egyptian by sight. But Paul said, "I am a man which am a Jew of Tarsus, a city of Cilicia, a city of no mean city. I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people." Look, Romans 11:1, who Paul states he is, as far as his race. "I say then, hath the Most High cast away his people? Most High forbid, for I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin. That's what Paul said he is. He's an Israelite of the seed of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin. But he was mistaken for what? An Egyptian. A dark-skinned people are the Hamites. But we're not from Ham. We're from Shem. The Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary says Ham, the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, the Libyans, the Ethiopians, and Canaanites. Those people come out of Ham. We're not so-called Africans. We come from Shem. Now going back to Acts the 7th chapter, now that we cleared that up. Verse 12. But when Jacob heard that there was corn in Egypt, he sent out our fathers first. And at the second time, Joseph was made known to his brother. He let his brothers know, I'm Joseph, your brother. But your wicked brothers that sold their brother to the Ishmaelites, the Arabs, because it was envy of them. Verse 13, at the second time, Joseph was made known to his brethren, and Joseph's kindred was made known unto Pharaoh. He let Pharaoh know, these are my people. Then sent Joseph and called his father Jacob to him, and all his kindred, 75 souls, 75 souls. So Jacob went down into Egypt and died, he and all fathers, and were carried over into Shechem and laid in the sepulchre that Abraham bought for a sum of money of the sons of Emor, the father of Shechem. But when the time of the promise drew nigh, which the Most High had sworn to Abraham, the people grew and multiplied in Egypt, till another king arose, which knew not Joseph. See, that's why when you look at, when it talks about us being in captivity, we wasn't in captivity in Egypt for no 400 years. Because I ask the question to you now, are we mighty in America or all the different lands that we've been scattered in? Can we say that we're mighty? I don't think so. But here it is. You look at Exodus, the 1st chapter, and we look at the 7th verse. And the children of Israel were fruitful. Meaning we started having a lot of children in Egypt. Once all the generation that came into Egypt died. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty. Can we say that we exceeding mighty in the captivity that we're in right now? No. And the land was filled with them. So we produced a lot of children, as we do unto this day. That's why you got all these abortion clinics where? In the hood, wherever Israel is, to kill off our babies. And it's up to 50 million now. Come on, don't think that we're not doing it. But see, it said, we multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. Same thing with the law. We read the same thing in Acts the 7th chapter. Ran through the second. And he said unto his people, now mind you, Joseph was already gone. Remember, Joseph was right after the Pharaoh. Joseph ruled right after the Pharaoh. We ruled approximately from the 14th to the 18th dynasty because we were exceeding mighty. And the land was filled with us. But after the generation died off, verse 8, now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on. Are we more and mightier than this kingdom, kingdoms that we in right now? No. That's why we was ruling. It says, come up, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us. and so get them up out of the land. See? Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, the affliction, once again. That's what we went into slavery. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Thaahwam and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. The more they afflicted us, the more babies we have. Just like it is now, that's why they have to come with abortion clinics, Planned Parenthood. Because we have more babies than anybody. Boop, boop, pregnant, boop, pregnant, boop, pregnant, boop, pregnant, boop, pregnant. That's us. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. But it's only approximately about 80 years. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage. That's what I'm telling you. But we read earlier that we were mightier than them. That's because we were ruling. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick and in all manner of service in the field. All their service, wherein they made them serve, was with rigor. See? Going back to Acts the 7th chapter. Verse 18. I'll read verse 17. But when the time of the promise drew near, which the Most High had sworn to Abraham, the people grew and multiplied in Egypt. We grew and multiplied in Egypt. Remember, we became exceeding mighty and were more in number than them. It said, till another king arose, which knew not Joseph, who was Ramses II. The same dealt subtly with our kindred, and evil entreated our fathers, so that they cast out their young children to the end they might not live. That's when you're going back to Exodus, the 1st chapter, 15. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, you know, that's a midwife, is a woman that watches over a woman that's having a baby, and see them upon the stools. Now, Esau went off, as he always do, got you women laying down on your back having a baby. We had stools for our women, because the gravity would help pull the baby out. But now you got you laying on your back. I guess, because Most High is everything, right? I mean, y'all had stools, so you did have enough sense to realize, okay, well, the gravity's gonna pull it out. I mean, the Most High did say this. In Genesis 3:16, we just went over it. Unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. That means having babies. And that cycle that you have. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, okay? So, but here, initially, you didn't have children like you have now. Because look at here. Check this out. Exodus 1:16. And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. Kill all the men. Kill all the men, child. There's a reason why. It's all here. And that's why, you know, you look at, okay, well, I'll deal with that man, but that man might have many sons. The scriptures talks about that. Oh yeah. And that's a lot of men have forgotten about this. Look at Ecclesiastes, the 30th chapter. Verse 3. So he that teaches his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Though his father die, yet he is as though he were not dead. Though his father died, he is as though he was not dead. For he hath left one behind him that is like himself. That is why they want to kill the boys. That's why he said, kill the boys. Because he have left